It's Friday, March 8th, 2024. Welcome to episode 93 of the Alameda Postcast, an audio service of the Alameda Post. I'm your host, Scott Peeler. In this edition of the Postcast, the City Council has good news for the Alameda Food Bank and an area distiller. The California primary is over. APD releases January's crime statistics and recovers 8 truckloads of stolen goods. A look back at the State of the City address. A bureaucratic snafu is hampering the redevelopment of Alameda Point. A fond farewell to a beloved Alameda artist, and some sincere thanks to some good Samaritans. And get ready to spring forward. These stories and more on this episode of the Alameda Postcast. Our top story, food, drink, and cars. Those were the main topics at Tuesday's City Council meeting. As we reported back in episode 79 in November, the Alameda Food Bank created plans for a new 18,000 square foot facility on Alameda Point that would include a new permanent community market. On Tuesday, Council unanimously voted to authorize multiple real estate transactions related to the sale of 1.7 acres of land and Building 607 to the food bank. The new facility is across the street from the current location, a few moving parts in this one. Alameda Point Collaborative will move their services from Building 613 of the Reshape construction site and their administrative office from Building 607 to Building 2 on West Midway Avenue, so construction can proceed on the Reshape housing project without disruption to their services. The Alameda Food Bank will vacate their leased premises in Building 92 as they prepare for the move to Building 607 and the associated land. Structures operated by APC in the Reshape and West Midway development footprint will be demolished. Residents of properties managed by APC, Operation Dignity, and Building Futures for Women and Children will eventually relocate into new homes in Reshape once they are completed. The food bank's current location, Building 92, will be put up for sale by the city, with the proceeds used to finance the next phase of construction of infrastructure and utilities serving the historic district at Alameda Point. The new food bank facility will also have space for partner agencies to provide additional services to clients. Also on Tuesday, the council voted to authorize a lease with Gold Bar Spirits for a portion of Building 22 at Alameda Point. This is the facility that was most recently occupied by Hangar 1 in the same building as Faction Brewing. Gold Bar currently operates a distillery and tasting room on Treasure Island. They are the official whiskey of the San Francisco 49ers and even feature a special Joe Montana collection of whiskeys. Gold Bar plans to improve the facility by upgrading its mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems, installing a new kitchen to support a planned tasting room. It plans to install distilling equipment and refresh the public spaces, including upgrading the existing tasting room. Though the lease is expected to start April 1st, Gold Bar does not anticipate opening for business in the first year of occupancy. The motion passed 4-1, with Councilmember Herrera Spencer voting against it, citing concerns of obstructed views. Finally, City Manager Jennifer Ott addressed concerns over increasing automotive sideshows at Alameda Point, such as the one at the end of January, as reported in episode 88. Ott noted that the city has an interdepartmental team working to coordinate and collaborate on this issue, looking at prevention and enforcement. She said they were putting up fencing closer to the USS Hornet where they've seen sideshows and are using intelligence and investigative skills to try to find out when these events are happening. For a complete look at Tuesday's council meeting, including a visual summary of the changes in building occupation, see Karen Jensen's article at alamedapost.com/news. Tuesday the 5th was California Primary Day. The Alameda County Registrar of Voters released the unofficial final results. Turnout was definitely low, about 8.4% for the county. Here in the city of Alameda, turnout was slightly higher at just under 12%. The only Alameda-specific measure on the ballot, Measure E, showing just under 70% support, more than the two-thirds required for passage. BART Director Latifah Simon is enjoying a commanding lead in the race to replace Barbara Lee in Congress. Lee's campaign for Senate did not fare well. The general election will see a contest between Democrat Adam Schiff and Republican Steve Garvey. To stay up to date with the results as they are certified and to stay on top of election news all the way to November, be sure to visit alamedapost.com/election. Alameda Police released January's crime statistics, and on the whole, things are moving in the right direction. All major categories were down month to month, with arrests and calls for service showing increases. Catalytic converter thefts were down to 5. Collisions dropped 26% to 48. There were 5 robberies and 9 assaults, both down from last month. While auto thefts did decrease from 135 to 114, that number remains stubbornly high. At that rate over a year, Alameda's car theft rate would be higher than last year, which was already 6 times the national average and almost 4 times the California average. On the bright side, that 114 figure does represent a 6-month low, so again, moving in the right direction. For a closer look at the numbers, see Adam Gillett's article at alamedapost.com/news. APD did have a major win this month as they recovered 8 truckloads of stolen property worth approximately $75,000, along with multiple stolen vehicles and more than $10,000 in cash. They made the recovery following a successful investigation into a grand theft reported on February 9th at the Old Navy store in South Shore. The investigation also led to an arrest. APD worked with California Highway Patrol's Organized Retail Crime Task Force to conduct the investigation into a targeted retail theft operation, identified a pattern in similar cases. APD launched an investigation in collaboration with the CHP and Old Navy's loss prevention team to identify not only the individuals entering the stores, but also the parties receiving the merchandise. As the investigation is ongoing, no further details were released. For the story, including pictures of the recovered property, see alamedapost.com/news. Last week on the Postcast, I noted that Mayor Ashcraft had delivered her annual State of the City address. Kelsey Gores was there at the Penumbra Community Center on Bay Farm Island. The topics for the evening included public safety, homelessness, climate change, and transportation infrastructure. Financially, the city has received a AAA credit rating. Finance Director Margaret O'Brien noted that the city has not only been able to maintain a 25% reserve, but also has an additional $32 million in residual fund balance. Director O'Brien reported that the economic outlook for the city is stable, with most revenue sources remaining steady. For a complete look at the state of the city, see Kelsey Gore's article at alamedapost.com/news. Let's play word association. What's the first word that pops into your head when you hear City Hall West, 2 blocks of lawn, a fire station, a hangar, buildings, a parking lot, and tarmac? I'm betting it's not Tidelands. But that's exactly what California considers the central corridor of Alameda Point, despite the fact that everything I mentioned is currently sitting on it. The Tidelands have been filled in 80 years ago by the Navy. It's a roadblock to redevelopment, and Richard Bangert provides an overview of this set of unintended consequences at alamedapost.com/news. If you've been to the Pacific Pinball Museum, you've no doubt enjoyed the beautiful murals on the wall, echoing the classic backglass artwork of machines from across the decades. Many of those murals were painted by Ed Castle, an Alameda resident for 35 years. Ed created large graphics throughout the Bay Area for more than 30 years. His public art commissions include the Oakland Main Library and the Mendocino County Courthouse. He also painted backdrops for theatrical venues and feature films with Scenic Artists Union Local 816. Ed passed away in January at the age of 77. On Tuesday, March 26th, the museum will hold a memorial service in Ed's honor. From 3 to 7 p.m., the museum will be free of charge, and guests are encouraged to bring photos of Ed, share some memories, and play some pinball. You'll find details and Mr. Castle's obituary at alamedapost.com/news. This week's Walking History Tour focuses on the Webster Street Business District this Sunday the 10th and on St. Patrick's Day, Sunday the 17th. For details and tickets, head to alamedapost.com/tours. Dennis Evanosky has once again prepared a superb background article. Head to alamedapost.com/history. Check out Webster Street in the 19th century. Bonus points if you already knew that Webster Street was originally called Euclid Street. Quick thank you to a couple of good Samaritans. First of all, if you follow the Friends of the Alameda Animal Shelter, you may have seen the story of Darby. Darby came to the shelter with an untreatable terminal illness, and Foz was able to find someone to provide a loving foster hospice home so Darby could spend his last days surrounded by warmth and love. To the person who provided that kindness, I say thank you. I also say thank you to the wonderful person who recovered my wallet, which fell out of my bicycle luggage while I was riding out on the Point Wednesday. What looked to be a night of panic and innumerable phone calls turned into one big sigh of relief. Thanks as well to APD for making the return so smooth. AlamedaPost.com/events for a guide to what's going on in Alameda. CarrierCon hits the USS Hornet Saturday. Great guests, including Wendy and Richard Peeney of ElfQuest fame, as well as our very own Brees, creator of Two Birds from Alameda. Alameda Restaurant Week wraps up Saturday. Farmers Market, Saturday from 9 to 1. Saturday also begins a kids' stand-up comedy workshop at the Alameda Comedy Club. 4 Saturdays from 3 until 5, culminating in a performance on Thursday, April 4th. More events at alamedapost.com/events. Don't forget, turn your clocks ahead Saturday at bedtime, and be careful Monday on the commute because sunrise, which has been at 6:30, will now be around 7:30. Thanks for your support for local news for Alameda. To give a tax-deductible donation, head to alamedapost.com/memberships. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Mastodon, Threads, Blue Sky, as well as our own subreddit. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple News. Find the Postcast wherever you get your podcasts, or simply tell your smart device to play the Alameda Postcast podcast. I'm Scott Peeler, back next Friday with episode 94 of the Alameda Postcast.